car dramas again. All I wanted to do was move the charger from here to here, and this is what's happened. All of that mess is power steering fluid. It appears I've got a burst. I'm guessing it's a high pressure power steering line, because when I wanted to swing it around and out there, it just dumped fluid everywhere. Now I have taken the Statesman out, because what's the point of keeping a parts car in the shed? So wanted to wash this and drive it, but that ain't happening today. So yeah, it's just bled its guts everywhere. So I've just put it back in the shed, and I've got to jack it up and see what the issue is. Well, I can't really find anything wrong underneath, so I've tightened up the clamp for the return, which was quite loose, and then just tightened up the high pressure in the back, and let's give that a go and see if that makes a difference. So we'll put some fluid back in and start it up and see when we turn the wheels if anything happens. I'm going to put a bit of fluid in and see what happens. Just a little bit. Okay. Okay, that didn't work. Well, it took a while, but I found it. I had it running and it started pissing fluid out everywhere, and it was running down here, and I thought, oh shit, what's that, an overflow? Turned the car off, wiped it. What's happened is this hose here, which is the high pressure hose, has been rubbing, not on this side, but on the top of that bracket there, and there's a small hose, there's a small hole in the top of that hose, and then when the wheels are turned and under pressure, it's coming out of that. If the wheels are straight, it's fine. As soon as you turn the wheels, then it just pisses out and lose all the fluids. So, looks like we need a new high pressure hose. Well, I guess the next step is get that hose off and get a new one made, because that thing goes all the way from the power steering all the way around here into the steering box up there. So that's a fairly long hose. I don't know whether they make them or not, but I might get it off and take it into a NZ or something like that, or a Pertec or something, and we'll get another one made. And keep it away from that freaking bracket. There's no way I'm getting that hose off now while the motor is warm, because I will burn my little handskis on those extractors. So we'll let that cool down, then we might tackle it again tomorrow. Alright, so I've put the car back on the ground so I can reach in over the guard. So the plan of attack is we're going to unbolt that power steering line, dangle it out from underneath, and see if we can put a temporary fix in it or something. So I managed to cut the end of that hose off with great difficulty. Now the original plan was to remove the whole hose, but it is under the booster right down in there, and there's no way that I've got any hope in chance of getting to that. It's going to have to be either motor out or disassemble all the brakes, and that ain't happening. So cut the end off and take a gander at this. This had been rubbing for a long time. Now that's the end of the hose, worn through the rubber into the steel. It's even worn a hole in the steel, so that's got to be chopped off there, and I'll add in a piece of steel line, put a bit of rubber back over the top, something like that, and see how that goes. If it leaks, then we're going to have to figure out something else, but that is freaking hard stuff to cut through with a hacksaw, I can tell you. All right, I'll chop that off and get back to you in a second. Well, here I am at the vise. I cut a bit of this 9.3mm pipe. I've flared both ends, broke the flaring tool, so that is cactus and can't do anything with that anymore. So what I've done is this pipe actually goes all the way down to that fitting there. Put a hose clamp on there, and the reason for flaring that is so that won't pull off or pull out. So that bit there is now fixed, and you can see I've got the flare on that piece. So when I join it back up to the hose that's still on the car, we'll put another clamp on there so it can't pull apart, and we'll give it a go. And the idea is for the fluid to travel through here, not in that conglomeration. And if that doesn't work, then I guess I'll pull the rest of the hose out and see if I can get one made. But this is where I'm up to. I've got to find one more clamp, and it's just about ready to put back in. Back over at the car, I have got the cut-off piece in, but I have got it redirected going towards the driver's side of the car this time, as before it came around through the return. So it is a little bit routed different, and that's because of the straight pipe that I put in it. It actually hits the chassis rail, so it can't go that way. So what I need to do now is get underneath and join this hose into that hose. Now, I don't know how long and bandy it's going to be, but let's get it together and see how it turns out. Next thing to do is tighten up this. All right, we'll get some oil in there and see what happens. Now, I don't want to put heaps in here because if it leaks, then it's all going to go on the ground, and I don't want to lose it. I probably need a funnel. That'll do to start with. Did I say I didn't want to put too much in there because I didn't want it to spill it on the floor? I've overfilled the bloody thing. At least when we start it up, it'll start pumping some down the lines. Jeepers. Next step is to start it up and see if we've got a leak. Well, don't want to go. Let me suss out what's wrong. I think the starter wire's fallen off. Let me suss that out. And hopefully that's what it is. Yep, come off. Wire that goes to the starter, I'm guessing is the trigger, was off. So let's see what happens this time. that didn't go to plan. It shot it out everywhere. Where is it leaking from? Let's have a look underneath. Well, first thing is, smart me didn't move the pan back, but where's it leaking from? The join we just did. All right, let's take it back off and have a look, I guess. Bloody hell. Well, that's shot. I'm gonna start by taking the booster off and see if I can get to that hose, because the whole thing's got to come off. Let's do it the proper way and get one made, eh? Well, there it is. That's what I should have done in the first place. Bloody hell. Just wasted who knows how many hours. So that's now fully off. So what I had to do was not take the engine out, is unbolt the master, unbolt the booster from the bracket, take the pin out, and there's your access. As well as leaking oil everywhere, but the thing's out, so total 8 bolts, 1 pin. And I frickin' tried to fix that thing. That was never going to work, was it? All right. You live and you learn. I will take that somewhere to get remade, and hopefully we'll be back on the runners list again soon. All right, it's the next day, and I took the hose to my local Pertec dealer and got them to remake the hose for me. So what they ended up doing was you take the ends off the old hose and then fit it to a new hose. But boy, oh boy, I wasn't expecting the price. $146.24. Woo! Now I know why I tried to fix it myself. But didn't work, so we got it made. It's done now. Let's see if we can put the thing back in, and hopefully it fits. Well, after much struggle, it's in. So it's tightened up down there and also over here. Down in there somewhere. Down there. Now I guess before I start putting it all back together, I should test to see if it works, because I don't want to put it all together and then it leak. So I'll put a bit of fluid in, we'll start it up and we'll see how we go. Well, nothing is going to plan. Went to start it up, flat battery. How did it go flat overnight? I got no idea. Put fluid in, bled it all up. The new hose has got a leak, so it's got to come back out again. But the engine's warm now, so they ain't coming out today. Got to ring this mob up and get them to fix it, I guess. It's leaking out off the pump end, so bloody cars, eh? Bloody cars. New day, new update. Turns out that Pertec didn't stuff the hose up. That was my mistake. Underneath the pump they put a union fitting that I didn't check was tight enough, so that's why it was leaking. So took it back off the end of the pump, dangled it out the front of the car and did it up properly, put it back in, started the car up. It didn't leak there, but I didn't have the fitting up on the power steering tight enough, so it blew power steering fluid all over the exhaust, so there's been a lot of smoke everywhere. Tightened up that bolt now, it's not leaking there, it's not leaking there, but there's still a hell of a mess under the car. So what really needs to happen is car out, clean the floor, clean the front of the engine because it is caked in oil. Turns out that battery's no good now. Somehow it's dropped the cell overnight because it won't hold any charge whatsoever, even if you put a battery charger on. So that's Cactus. Now, let's put all the brake pieces back together and hopefully that's the end of this saga. As you just saw, it's all now back together and working lovely. Just had it running, turning the wheel side to side, no leaks, burnt off all the oil that was sitting on the exhaust, which created a lot of smoke, so that's good. Hose is cable tied back into place as it was before. So we're good to go whenever I can get this out of the shed again. We just have a quick gander underneath. And there's no leaks. I've cleaned up under there. So we're looking swimming. Okay, that's enough for this video. Thanks for watching, and that's how not to fix your high pressure power steering hose if you want to do it the difficult way like I did. All right, ciao ciao.